Kenshi is a game where you, the player, get to live out your dreams of hard labor, unpaid servitude, running from a religious death cult, and fighting eldritch demons along the way. But freedom comes at a price. And by price, I mean immediately running straight into the Fog Islands. Imagine Disneyland. But instead of rides, it's cannibal fogmen who want to eat your legs and clap while you cry. My goal? Build a thriving base in the middle of this nightmare fog, surrounded on all sides by screaming meat cultists. It's like trying to start a small business, except your customers drag you into the mist and never bring you back. To start my grand escape, I've created two brave souls. First up, a proud Hiver warrior with a name that carries dignity, history, and the weight of generations. His name?
My name, Demetrius DeMarcus Bartholomew James III.
His posture? Refined. His pose? Perfect. His body? Bent like a broken coat hanger. This is a man destined for greatness, or at least destined to get eaten by fogmen in the most fashionable way possible. And alongside him, a human with equal courage and significantly less naming effort. Meet Paste. That's it, just Paste. Together, Demetrius III and Paste are enslaved in the Holy Nation's massive prison camp known as Rebirth. And somehow, these two lunatics are gonna break free and attempt the dumbest base location in the game, the Fog Islands. After my daily beating, I wake up in chains. The glorious Holy Nation has graciously decided that my life's purpose is unpaid labor. Picture this, a massive desert camp, hundreds of slaves breaking rocks, guards in holy armor marching around like they're cosplaying as paladins of the IRS, and me? I'm the guy they caught 5 minutes ago and immediately tossed in the world's worst summer camp. There's no escape. The guards watch my every move, the hills are high, and the food is just bread that tastes like dust and regret. Actually, scratch that, because they don't feed you at all in here. Not unless I slip my little nubs in their pockets, that is. But here's the thing. In Kenshi, survival isn't about playing fair. It's about finding the tiniest crack in the system and shoving your broken, malnourished body through it. So yeah, I'm enslaved for now. But give me time, and I'll turn this prison sentence into the opening chapter of my Fog Island nightmare empire. The first few nights were crucial. While the guards snored in their towers, I slipped through the shadows like a starving raccoon in a trash alley. I stole bread from their storage and stuffed them into my pockets like they were gold bars. And at night, I just watched them. The mighty paladins of the Holy Nation curled up in their beds, blissfully unaware that their newest slave was already plotting their downfall. It wasn't much, just food in my belly and plans in my brain. They, found out almost immediately and chained my human to a pole. But in the meantime, I continued to sneak around the camp and cause a little chaos by freeing random slaves to see how far they would make it. Meanwhile, Paste finally wakes up from his punishment on the pole. Sunburnt, dehydrated, and looking like a burnt chicken nugget, he decides tonight's the night. Under the cover of darkness, Paste slips his shackles and starts freeing the others. One by one, the prisoners climb down from their poles, rubbing their wrists, eyes wide, realizing this might be their only chance. He doesn't give a speech, doesn't rally the troops. He just quietly opens the locks and points towards freedom, and somehow they follow. By dawn, Pace stumbles into the cliffs where Demetrius DeMarcus Bartholomew James III is waiting. The two reunite, one elegant hiver, one human disaster, and behind them a ragtag mob of newly freed slaves. And just like that, the prisoners I had released earlier are already making the perfect distraction for me. Our plan? Simple. Charge straight at the heavily guarded front gate with nothing but breadcrumbs, broken bones, and sheer stupidity to fuel us. May the best man win. We charge, we scream, and we believe. And then we are immediately folded like cheap lawn chairs. Paladins descend from every angle, swords flashing, armor clanking, while our ragtag rebellion collapses into a glorious pile of bodies and bad decisions. Meanwhile, I'm hauling ass down a mountain while getting chased by hundreds of paladins. So, all in all, I would say that's a pretty good escape. When the dust settles, the survivors are dragged back in chains. But Paste? Poor Paste doesn't make it out. He's left behind, surrounded by guards staring at the gate that was supposed to be his freedom. Demetrius escapes into the cliffs, battered and limping, carrying the memory of his fallen comrade. Paste is gone, or worse, still alive. Welp, he's gone. So sad, blah blah blah. Forget him. Because we've got more important things to deal with. The Fog Islands. Now, you may be wondering why any sane person would want to go to a cannibal-filled hellhole. Well, that's because our destination is so goddamn bad that not even the slave hunters or Holy Nation dare chase us. So, we march on over and hope for the best. And we just so happen to find an outpost outside the fog. And, oh my god, they're eating a man! The entire outpost was overflowing with insane feral fogmen, and this poor traveler was caught in their web. So, naturally, I did the only sane thing in that situation, and plugged my ears. We listened in horror and scientific curiosity, learning exactly how long it takes for a man to be eaten alive, and when he stops screaming. We marched straight into the fog, completely ignoring the massive packs of fogmen glaring at us like we're the appetizers. Visibility is terrible, every step is a potential death trap, and yet somehow we make it. At the very center, rising from the mist like a bad idea in architectural form, we find the city of Mongrel. Crowded, chaotic, and probably crawling with even more things that want to kill us. And somehow, this is where we're going to start building our empire. But first, we need money. Now, philosophers have long debated the best way to make capital. Some say hard work. Some say cunning. Some say investment. We say none of that matters when you're a starving hiver in the middle of Mongrel. So we improvise. Steal, scam, fight, repeat. Because in Kenshi, capital isn't made. It's survived, one terrible decision at a time. Hold on, wait a second. Where the hell did my leg go? I've looked away for a second and it's gone. God damn it. I think at this point, morally speaking, we're fully justified in robbing the cybernetic store. Think about it. They've got legs, I don't have a leg. Supply and demand. That's just economics, right? It's not stealing if it's surviving, right? But that's a plan for the night. In the meantime, I decided to redistribute wealth in some of the storage sheds, only for me to run into Beep, the single greatest warrior Kenshi has ever known. Beep is a hive outcast with the posture of a broken broom, the combat skills of a toddler, and the confidence of a god. And you know what? That's exactly the kind of energy we're looking for. Because nothing screams future empire like a one-legged idiot and a guy called Beep. Night falls and there's a slight hiccup in my plan when I realize robots don't actually sleep. So I stage a heist on the next door neighbor and repeatedly bash their head in with a blunt object until they fall asleep. It goes about as well as you'd expect, with him waking up several times with increasingly more and more brain damage. But our plan ends in a timely success. Well, sort of. A bit of bait and switch and I was able to crawl right out with all of the loot. So, we buy a brand new shiny leg, state-of-the-art, chrome-plated, premium running power, and where do we go with our new upgrade? A shed. That's it. No castle, no fortress, just 4 walls, a roof, and the vague smell of mold. But you know what? In Kenshi, that's living the dream. 1 leg, 1 shed, endless possibilities. Now, that's what I would say if I was a little bitch, because we are robbing the cybernetic store and getting the hell out of here. Forget the shed, forget the dream of honest living. We're making our own city with blackjack and hookers. One where you don't have to pay $10,000 for a goddamn leg. So we do it. We build a house. Not in the safety of Mongrel, not behind walls, not anywhere sane. No, we slap it down on a lonely hill, surrounded on all sides by endless fog. Every direction we look, there's nothing but silence and the promise of screaming fogmen just out of sight. It's less of a dream home and more of a discount horror movie set. But it's ours, and it's way cooler than those posers living in Mongrel. But in the meantime, I've just been caught robbing a store. Standard practice, nothing unusual really, but, plot twist, I recently joined the Thieves Guild. Which means the moment the guards grab me, the guild decides it's time to back me up. And just like that, the whole town erupts. Pretty much everyone in the town is slaughtering each other while I'm holding a pair of stolen boots. What started as a petty theft has now become a full-blown gang war in Mongrel. And somehow, it's kind of my fault. At this point, the entire town of Mongrel either despises me or is dead. So I think it's about time we put in some work on our base. Just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, the fog rolls thicker, the ground trembles, and they come. Fogmen. Dozens of them screaming, clawing, swarming our hilltop shack. We fight, we panic, we bleed. And then something new. Something I added myself. Mist ghouls. These aren't your average fog monsters. No, this thing is faster, meaner, and twice as ugly. Because apparently surviving in the Fog Islands surrounded by man-eating cannibals wasn't painful enough. I had to mod in my own suffering. And he kind of kicks my ass, to be honest. Somehow, Beep is the only one who wakes up early. Everyone else is unconscious, bleeding out on the floor, looking like the world's worst sleepover. So now it's just Beep, armed with a rusty stick trying to heal the squad with one hand while smacking Fogmen away with the other. Every few seconds, another one of us gets dragged towards the mist, and Beep just sprints over, screaming, patching wounds, and punching kidnappers in the back of the head. It's chaos, it's hopeless, and it's probably the most heroic thing Beep has ever done. Our outpost now sits locked tight in the fog, like a cursed mansion no sane person would ever visit. We reinforce the walls, set up some defenses, and finally start a proper training arc. No more stumbling around like idiots. Well, less of it anyway. Demetrius drills, Beep heals and smacks, and we all slowly turn from a group of disaster-prone maniacs into slightly less disaster-prone maniacs. The Fog Islands might hate us, but at least we're learning how to fight back. Just try to ignore the constant screaming outside our front door. With our outpost secure, I tried doing the right thing, and chained up some fogmen to try to use the art of gentle diplomacy. The little shit robbed me. Lesson learned. Diplomacy in the Fog Islands is mostly just screaming at someone you can't actually talk to. Time to fix one thing at a time, starting with Demetrius. We power level him, drill him, fight him, throw him at enemies, push him to the brink of exhaustion, and somehow it works. His posture, still perfect. His pose, still dramatic. But now, he can actually survive a few hits without becoming Fogman breakfast. Finally, the Hiver lives up to his ridiculous name and our ridiculous expectations. Demetrius DeMarcus Bartholomew James III is finally ready to wear the bandana. Okay, listen up. We're about to destabilize Mongrel and make ourselves the undisputed rulers of the Foglands. How? By taking out the Hive Queen herself. Why are we killing the Hive Queen? Oh, it's simple. If you enjoy long, winding, perfectly sound logic. First, we paint ourselves blue. Not metaphorically, literally. Full body Smurf cosplay. Because if we look like a completely different species, technically we don't exist in the national census. Next, we destroy the census records, burn them, scatter them in the fog, replace them with badly drawn stick figures. Now the government has no idea who we are. Profit. We skip taxes entirely.
Excuse me, IRS? You sent me a letter asking me to pay my taxes?
Destabilize Mongrel and remove the Hive Queen as an obstacle to our blue-painted, audit-free empire. And finally, once everyone's confused and slightly poorer, we can position ourselves as the only legitimate outpost in the Foglands, which means absolute power, prestige, and the moral high ground for all our poorly thought out schemes. While I power level swimming for 3 days straight, it's time we checked back on an old friend. Paste finally somehow making his escape. By using a mythical family technique known as running, he is able to escape the grasp of the Holy Nation and make a long solo trip through the fog back to us. Oh, and Beep. Beep finally kills a Fogman. Just one, but in true Beep fashion, he immediately declares himself a legend, flexes, and gives a 10-minute speech about how he single-handedly saved the Foglands. I'm sure a little bit of ego won't hurt anybody. By the time I reached the Hive Queen's home, I was exhausted and maybe slightly delusional from swimming 3 days straight. And then when I met her, she started screaming. Not like a battle roar or anything dignified, no. She screamed like a crazed homeless person on a Friday night, high-pitched, shrill, and completely unhinged. At this point, I was seriously questioning my life choices. Oh, and Paste makes it back to the outpost, limping, gaunt, covered in fog and dirt, a true hero. And then, classic Paste, he collapses from starvation the second he sets foot on solid ground. And before anyone can help, the Fogmen swoop in, grab him, and drag him screaming into the mist. He's home, he's safe, he's not. This is pretty much Paste's life at this point. Just long enough to taste victory and then immediately be eaten or worse. But with that issue resolved and the squad finally reunited, it's time to take out the Queen. This is it. Our empire, our revenge, our absolutely convoluted path to being the only outpost in the Foglands comes down to this moment. I trip her over, the Hive Queen hits the ground, and with one quick motion I snap her neck. What? Expected me to fight her? This is Kenshi, she would have kicked my ass. I'm claiming my prize and getting the hell out of here. While running home, I noticed something off. The entire city of Mongrel has seemingly turned red. I don't know if they heard about my hijinks and got a little pissed off, or if they had some sort of socialist revolution. But I better stop by to gloat anyways. Okay, that's definitely not a good sign. When I finally reached Mongrel, it was gone. The city was destroyed. Smoke rising from toppled buildings, streets empty except for the Fogmen, hundreds, maybe thousands, feasting on what's left of the population. Apparently my little stunt had caused every hive in the game to go feral without their queen, and quadruple the population of Fogmen in the world. We survived the Foglands, killed the queen, and somehow Mongrel didn't. And judging by the smell, it may never forgive us. Screw them. Mongrel gone. Fogmen annoying. Citizens probably jerks anyway. Now our base sits on the hill, locked tight, fog swirling, defenses up, and stocked with everything we could possibly want. It's time for me to head home with this big ol' reward on my back. I tell you what, man, we are gonna be living the high life from now on. No more angry merchants, no holy nation to stop us, and what the hell is that thing? Is that giant pile of scrap metal supposed to be Beep? I've only been gone for like a couple of days. How the hell was he able to build this? What the hell is going on here? Wait, why do you have a throne? What? You can't just start a dictatorship while I'm gone? How the hell did you do that? God damn it, Beep.
Hey guys, I just noticed that you weren't actually subscribed, and if you look under your bed, I'm waiting for you. Subscribe. Subscribe.
Shut up.
I love Mason, bro.